Good Erev Shabbos on this beautiful day. I'm so sorry that I'm late here today, but I did want to grab a little thought before Shabbos comes in. So, in this week's Torah portion, we read about the sabbatical year. The Torah tells us, "U'sefartem lachem, u'sefartem lacha," you should count for yourself 7 years. 6 years is work, the 7th year is a sabbatical. You count it 7 times, and then you come to the Jubilee year, the 50th year. Well, we're also actually in the middle of the midst of counting the Omer now, which we count introspection every day. We count the first day of the Omer, the second day, it goes through the 7 emotions, and within every week it goes through each of them. But ironically, when it comes to this Sfirat Omer that we do every day, the Torah says it in the plural. Usfartem lachem, you should all count. Yet when it comes to the Jubilee year, the Torah says, Usfartem lacha, you in the singular should count. Why the differentiation? Why when it comes to the Omer, we say all of us should count, yet when it comes to the Jubilee year, the Torah says only in the singular. And the answer is like this. You know, if you go to any school today, especially a business school, they all tell you, in order to succeed in the world, you need a plan. You need a 5-year plan, you need a 10-year plan, you need a 15-year plan, a 20-year plan. You need to think strategically. You need to think past the now and this moment. In order to succeed, to start a company, to be an entrepreneur, to build something, you gotta think long term. And then there's those of us who say, listen, I live day to day. You know, in the olden days, send a telegram, took 3 days for someone to get it, then you waited 3 more days for them to give it, send it back. Then we got the fax, we expected everything within a day, you sent it. That day you wanted them to get back to you. And then email came and we expected a response in a few hours. And then text came and we expected 20 minutes should pass. Someone should respond to you. But then we even got WhatsApp. And you could see when someone read your message and you wanted them to respond right away. If you read it, why didn't you respond? Many of us live in the moment. We live in the now. We live in the here. The Torah says like this. You see, when it came to the Jubilee year, who counted the Jubilee year? The Sanhedrin, the great Supreme Court, the leaders of Israel. The Torah says, you can't just live for now. You have to think long term. What's going to be with the Jewish people in 5 years, in 10 years, in 50 years, in 100 years? How are we going to make sure there's Jewish continuity, there's survival? That Am Yisrael Chai, that the Jewish people continue to live. Yes, as a community, lachem, as individuals, we each count the day, the moment. What did I do today? How was I today? You can't just count and think strategically. You have to live for the now. But as leaders, we have to live and think strategically. And that's why the Torah differentiates in the Sfirat Omer that we say day to day, that all of us say to the Sfirat Omer, to the sabbatical year, to the Jubilee year, that the leaders counted. You know, in our own lives, we're all leaders in a certain sense. Yes, it's nice to live day to day, but we need to think. In America, there's this thing that everyone knows. Before they want to have kids today, they have to think about, oh, how are we going to be able to support them, and what's going to be with college, and a fund for my retirement, and a fund for this and that. It's all nice. But you can't only live thinking strategically. You have to live in the now. Every day we count the Omer. At the same point, we also can't just live in the now. We have to have leadership within us. Today I had the honor of meeting with the Maoz Fellows. It's a group of leaders across the Israel, health, economic, politics, Israeli, Muslim, Druze, secular, religious, and they come for 3 weeks. They spend a year in studying in Israel, and they come for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, to study at Harvard and to meet the Jewish community. And I met with them, and these are leaders who are thinking. They all have families, they all have businesses, but they aren't only thinking day to day, they're thinking about how could we make Israel better? How could we make the diaspora relationship with the people in Israel better? That's the message. You need to count the days and the weeks, but you also need to count the Jubilee. We need to have the family and the personal way we look at things, but we also need to have the communal and leadership skills it takes to think strategically for the future of the Jewish people. Am Yisrael Chai, have a Shabbat Shalom. Love to all.